Okay, to start us off, we need to do some prep work. I need to prep these Mjolnir 2 bottoms, put stickers on them so that I can put the bottom, or the board on the bottom, in order to do the bias. Now they come in tubes, all nicely wrapped up. What I'll do is I'll just take the first one out, set it down there, and then we've got these stickers. Now these stickers we use instead of like a mica film and thermal paste. To me they work way better. As you guys know, I do radio stuff, and I've used these on final drive transistors for CDs, and they work great. It's way better, way less messy. So I just need to take the sticker off and line it up with the hole. There we go. There's 4 MOSFETs total. Luckily they're all in the same direction on this one. It can be very tedious, some of this. Now, my list says 20 Mjolnir 2s, so I gotta do 20 of these before I can even begin to start on the board. Alright, and I do another. So the next thing is take the board, out the bag, and I want to do just a little bit of a once over, make sure everything's on straight and that there's no solder blobs or any kind of junk on it like that. Alright. I need to turn down these little pots here because this is what we're going to use to bias it. Now my first power up, I'm going to be powering it up without the bottom on. So we want those pots down so that these MOSFETs don't heat up and cause lots of smoke. Alright, so go ahead and, whoops, don't want to turn it on first, plug it in. And these are my inputs from the tone generator. And this is my output to the scope. Volume all the way down for now, and then I get a couple of tubes. We get lots of tubes by the box. These are probably from Russia. I don't know how old they are, but you know, they've probably been around for a while. And then I get 2 tubes. I got this little sponge here. I can grease them up a little bit. That's WD-40 on there. Pop them in. Okay, now you can't see, but I have a variac here. And basically what I do is I kind of slowly turn up the variac. Just want to make sure it's not going to blow up. Okay, that's 110. I hear a bunch of little clicking, that means that's gone. Waiting for one more click. There we go, that's the click. Turn volume all the way up. Now, as you can see on the corner of your screen, there is some sine wave going on there. Now the pots aren't up yet. What I'm doing here, wait for that to stabilize, is I just want to make these stable. I don't want to turn the pots up all the way. I just want these to be sine waves like we should be seeing. So I'll start with one and I go real slow, and you'll see it start to take shape eventually. There you go. I don't go all the way yet, and then I turn the other one up until it starts to take shape. As you can see, while I'm adjusting the green, the yellow is starting to look more like a sine wave. It should. Alright, and that's it. It's just enough. Test the gain switch, and that's it for that. Now I need to put a bottom on it. Okay, now that we've done our first power up and made sure that we're getting a nice sine wave and that it's not going to explode when I power it up, we need to put the bottom on it. Now I'm going to take the tubes out for this because it's much easier. Set them aside. And flip her on over. Okay, so what we're doing here is I need to line up the MOSFETs with all the stickers and the holes right here. The MOSFETs get basically, they're pressed down against the heatsink, but we don't want it to be electrically connected. So we have the stickers there to not only act as like a thermal paste, thermal transfer pad, but also to insulate the MOSFETs from the metal here. We do not want metal to touch there. We do want them to be touching the bottom so that it sinks the heat. You know, the heat will dissipate on the chassis. So I'm going to put the bottom on and line up the holes. I'll grab my trusty Milwaukee, and I'm going to start with just the screws that hold the bottom on into the standoffs here. Now the next thing I want to do is take my little screwdriver here and I want to line the MOSFET holes up with the chassis holes. So I just need to kind of be gentle with it here. Just make sure they're lined up. It makes it much easier to put screws in there. Alright, now we have these longer screws here. We'll go through the bottom of the chassis and through the hole on the MOSFET. There we go. Now on the other side of the board, we have these little insulators here. You may have seen them before if you've done this kind of work. What they do is they're going to go around the screw like this. The MOSFET is right here, and the little nipple goes inside the MOSFET, and what that does is it insulates the MOSFET from the screw, so that because the screw is touching the chassis and we don't want it to be electrically connected at all, it just simply won't work, and after a while it will probably make some fire. We don't want that. So if we do this, that's how that kind of works, and then we're going to be putting the bolt on here like that, and that's how those go together. So that's how we zap the MOSFETs onto the bottom of the chassis without having it electrically connected. So what I need to do is put one of these little insulators on each screw. And then you need to put a bolt on each one as well. Now this, I'm just going to hand tighten it first using a little screwdriver here. Now these are nylock bolts. They're like lock nuts. So I can just screw it on until it starts to lock. I just want to kind of push them in and make sure that that little insulator sinks into the hole on the MOSFET properly. I can kind of look down the edge and I see that they're all seated the way they're supposed to be seated. There we are. Now I have a special screwdriver here that's been modified. It's been shortened so that the tip of this thing will fit all the way down around the bolt, but not around the nylock, because I need to, or the insulator, because I need to be able to see the insulator and make sure it's seated while I'm screwing it in. It's also been flattened on one side here so that I can get in there on the flat part of this MOSFET here. And so the way I do this is I kind of go around it, twist the screw in the back so I have it seated, and then I kind of eyeball, make sure it's seated correctly. There we go. And then I zap it in there on a 5 torque. And then as I'm shifting this around, I'll pull on the screw in the back just to make sure it stays seated. And so I can get the screwdriver in there. There we are. And I want to be just checking to make sure that I have that nylock seated, because there's a million different ways that this could get messed up, and you'll end up with one of these shorted to the chassis. There we go. Okay, so now I can put my tubes back in and put a little more WD-40 on there. So now I want to plug it in again, because we're going to set the bias. Like that. Now these are the leads from the tone generator. Now it doesn't really matter because they're both connected to the same signal here, so it doesn't matter if they're left or right or mixed up. It's just actually the same thing. Alright, and plug that in. Now we don't test the balance here because we know by the design if single-ended's working, the balance is working. And if there is something actually wrong with the balance, we'll find out in the sound check. Okay, so we're all ready to go. Make sure the volume pot is all the way up here. Turn it on. So what we're waiting for is the tubes to start blowing. You hear a bunch of little clicks. Wait for the final click. And wait for the tube to kind of warm up. So now what I'm doing here is I'm going to be setting the bias. Now there's a resistor that I need to measure voltage across. And if you look on the top of your screen, you'll see my meter here. And I'm going to switch that to millivolts. And this thing always likes to make noise at me sometimes. Okay, and so what I'm doing is I'm going to turn up these little pots here. I don't know if you can see. I've got these little pots here until I get to, it's between 70 and 80 millivolts. Now I try to shoot for 80, but in order to do that, I want to go to 75 first. So I'm measuring across this resistor. It's R124. And get a little bit of a reading, and then I'm just going to slowly turn the pot up. until it starts to make a change. You can see it changing there. You gotta be real. This is like the Vidar. It's not as bad as the Vidar, but you gotta be, you know, slow with it. You want to take your time so that you don't go too high. If you go too high, things can get blown up or too hot. So at about 70, I'm going to stop on that side and switch to the other side. This is our 225. And do the same thing. See that going up there? Ooh, it's running away on me. That's a little too high. I'm going to go down. Okay, 70, 80. Okay, we'll keep that one there for now. I think it's going to go down. Now I'm going to go back to the other side and make sure that's even. Okay, I'm at 71. I'm going to try to just get up to 75 here. Between 75 and 80 is really where I want to be. That's my personal goal there. I think I'm going to leave that. It will go up eventually, and that's why I shoot for 75, because I know it's going to go up as it keeps up. Okay, that was just a smidge higher than I want it to be. Come on, baby. 76, 75. I'm going to leave that. That one's done. So I'm going to stay right about there. And when it gets warm enough, it'll probably go over 80, but we're still in the safe zone. We used to actually go to 100 on these. We did a little bit lower. And on the Mjolnir ones, they were 130. So, okay. Now let's see if I can get this a little bit more matched. And that's that. So this is now biased. Now another thing we do, I almost forgot about, is tube matching. Now I have a voltage reading right here. We want it to be within 0.1. We want them to match within 0.1. Now this one is pretty damn close, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But some of these tubes are a little bit mismatched. You do want to make sure that they are at least within spec. For me, it's 0.1, 0.5, 0.1, and that's usually pretty easy with the Mjolnir tube here. So that's it. This thing is ready to go. Be put in a chassis.
All right, so we're doing the Mjolnir today. So Tony did all of what he needed to do, and I get to do what I need to do. So we gotta put little feet on him, tie the little shoes and all that happiness with it. So we stick all four of these little buggers on here, just like so, and then we'll put the top on. And that's gonna be a fun part here too. Right now, we're just doing the feet. Of course, this is the exciting part. Not. The exciting part is when you unbox it and you plug it in and you hear it for the first time. That is the exciting part. But right now, we're just putting the shit together. Okay, so now we have this all done. So now we're all good here. So Now what we gotta do, we gotta take our light. I don't think you guys can see it. We gotta take this guy right here and bend him in a certain shape. So we turn down the volume knob. And we take this guy and we go like this. And now I'm gonna put you this way because I'm gonna need to see the lap. So hopefully this is how we can do it. Let's see. There we go. I'll put you back there a little bit. So now, you have to just line up everything. Of course, you guys don't get a close up because I can't really get close. So, my light one more time. And then we're good. And it just has to line up to the hole. Sometimes they take a little bit of time. But now, we're good. So we are in on the flint. So now, we have that there. Now, this is what we do here. We put these two guys in first. That way, it holds it together. Now, I'm going to put all these guys right here. Get that happiness done. So, here we go with all this screwing around. That's what I do. I screw around here and I get paid all day. Don't you wish you could screw around and shit? So, there we go with that. Get everybody in. Everybody's all happy. Now, we gotta put our little washers on. So let's see. There we go. Put it right there. Put it right there. And then, we're going to go ahead and take this and screw the nut on. And then I go get the ratchet. One of the things I forgot to pull out to do this thing. That was ratchet of me. But we fixed it. So, next we're going to throw the knob on. And the knob is going to take place here. And there it is. So, look at that. And the ever so famous 3-leaf clover. I'm going to flip that upside down. I'm going to try to put you guys here so you can see what we're doing. Nothing too fancy. Just basically an inner shell for the outer shell. So we'll go ahead and connect it all together and make it all one shell. And that way it's all happy again. Or it begins to become happy. So we have all that. And here we go. So we need that, and that. They both come out. So, here we go. Screwing around.
Well, those are 148s also.
We just screw it all together. Tony, this is what you get. We have background noise, we have background noise. It's part of what it is. We work here. People work here. So, put all these little black screws in here. Button it all up. Then we're going to put the other silver screws in to take out the sides the top and the bottom. Actually, just top and bottom. Right now, that's what we're doing.
So they're right there. There's maybe over there.
And
Actually, I'm gonna go over here.
there we go. So now, we got everybody in right there. So that's all good now. Now, get to throw these guys in. These guys are next. Another relatively simple. Voila. And there's that. Flip it over. And we do it all over again. And that's about it. Kind of a simple little thing here. One second. And here we go. So that's that. And then, to make the tubes go in easier, we use WD-40. So we take the tube, and just with a little dab, line up the pins, so it's all happy. Put that guy in. They slip in easier. And one more. Look at that. There's what we got. And we stick this little guy right in there. There it is. We have a complete one. Now we go put it on the burn. So now we have it on the burn rack. And there it is. Lit up with tubes. Enjoy. Bye.
So for Mjolnir, we're going to start with a large box. Put it together. Tape. It's all nice. Get the power cord, put it in our bag. In this case, we're going to use a US power cord. Grab our foam here. Gets in there nice and tight. Put it inside and it sits right over the power cord, like so. And we get our manual here. And we get either one of two tubes, either 6BC7 or less. In this case, we'll just put in the 6BC7 in here. See how everything fits in there perfectly. Just close it up. Usually I'll write on the side, like Mjolnir 2S for US, and then what type of tube was inside. You're done.
You're done. One more fantastic video. Thank you very much.